Don't shake your head at me, Simone. Do you want to make a duck? Okay. Unit 4. Graphing. Linear equations, day 7. Today's focus is now finally going to change. We have laid all the groundwork that you need to actually get into this unit. Today we are graphing. Now, last section or last unit, unit 3, we did graphing. What did we graph in unit 3? What were we graphing? So if you need to, open your notes up, go back to, Functions. We graphed functions. And we only learned one way to graph a function. What did we have to do in order to graph those functions? So what did we have to do in order to graph those functions? What do you think?
X values are different.
Yeah, the x values have to be different than the y values. But what did we set up? So I asked you, you either needed to have a certain number of points or another certain number of points. What did we set up?
Wasn't it like a table?
Yeah, it was a table. We set up for functions this t-chart of x's and y's, right? This is one way to graph. You could still do that for linear equations. You could set up a table. I promise you that you do not want to. That is the longer way of doing it. That is the more common way to make mistakes of doing it. I am going to show you an easier way to graph. The easier way to graph is what we've already been working towards. And it is slope, intercept, form. What is the equation for slope, intercept, form? What is the equation for slope, intercept, form?
Y equals m times mx plus b.
Y equals mx plus b. So Armstrong, can you see that green or is that a little?
No.
Okay. Y equals mx plus b. We know the m stands for something. Everybody should know what the m stands for. What do we mean when we have the m in this equation? What is it taking the place of, Bianca?
Slope.
Slope. Please write this down correctly. This is slope. When we are graphing, we are going to use rise divided by run. For me, to make things easier for you, we are going to change rise over run up a little bit. Rise goes which directions? Go ahead, Isabel. Up and down. If it's going up, it's positive. If it goes down, it's negative. We are only going to go one direction with the run when we're graphing. Which direction do you think we're going to go when we're graphing?
Up.
Well, that's rise over run. So now I'm talking about run. So when we're talking about the run, which direction have we gone on every single graph?
Left to right.
Left and right, but I just want one direction for the run.
Right?
Yeah. So when we're counting today, we are only going to go to the right. Can you go to the left? Yes. Am I trying to simplify this? Yes. We're not quite in algebra. I'm going to make you have the basics that are going to get you ready for algebra. And even in algebra, I showed my kids this first. And once they had an understanding of it, then we talked about left and right. So right now, rise is up and down. Run is only which direction?
Right.
To the right. That is important. But there's another variable here that we know something for. So the form is called slope, which we've got, intercept form. Well, this positive b is something. And you've learned this already a couple times because we've taken it in notes 2 days now, or at least 1 day. What does the b stand for? I want somebody other than Sammy. You all have this in your notes from yesterday, so if you need to flip back, go for it. What does the b stand for? Carly.
Y-intercept.
The y-intercept. And in parentheses, I'm going to put starting point. Yesterday I told you, hey, I'm not going to tell you what the y-intercept is yet. The word intercept in football means you catch, if you're on defense, you catch the offensive pass, right? You're taking it away. Not the same thing in math. Intercept is a fancier word of saying intersect. If I intersect something, I'm crossing it. The y-intercept crosses the y-axis. Does the y-axis go left and right or up and down? Huh?
Oh,
I don't care.
no.
Y-axis, left and right or up and down?
Up and down.
Up and down. So, when I say y-intercept, if I've got a line, this point right here is the y-intercept. Because it's crossing, it's intersecting the y-axis. Questions? You're like, but Mr. H, you haven't really taught us anything. You've just gone over what you did yesterday. Yes, I know. Are there questions so far? Rise over run. Rise, I can count up or down. Run, I only go to the right. So, you have your rulers. We are going to start very, very basic. Y equals 2x minus 3. Just write that down first. And yes, I wrote it this way, which is not the way that you write it normally. Why is this not the way that I have taught you to write it? What is not wrong, but what is different about this way than how I want you to have it written? It has something to do with the m.
You want it to be a fraction.
Oh, we want our slope to be a fraction. So what is the denominator for 2? Caleb, what will be the denominator for a whole number of 2? 1. Everybody with me still? Every slope has to have a denominator. It has never been more important than it has been today. Every slope must have a denominator. Everybody with me? Okay. You are going to do 2 things for me. If I'm asking you, because the question would be this. Graph. Before you graph, I want you to write 2 things for me. M equals, B equals. This shouldn't be hard. I mean, it really shouldn't. I'd start this off at the top of my paper any single time so I know, okay, what's my slope? What's my y-intercept? Okay. So, Swill, what does M equal? Okay, but what number is it going to equal?
2 over 1.
Okay. Notice, do we include the x? No. Just the number, 2 over 1. Everybody good there? What's my b? Be careful, what's my b? B?
It's negative 3.
It's -3. Okay. So now pause. Slope is rise over run. My b, which is my y-intercept, is my starting point. So now, get your rulers. Let's make a coordinate grid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are you always going to be able to do 5s? Well, no, not quite. But we're going to keep them small right now. And on your homework, which shouldn't be homework, you should be able to get it all done, you're going to be able to just knock them out because they've already got graphs on them. Here's what I want you to start to do when you graph. So you have your coordinate grid. Put your x-axis, put your y-axis. I want you to know where x is, where y is. Everybody with me still? Okay. Caleb, don't be scared. What's my starting point? Take a look over here. What's going to be the starting point? Which variable?
M.
Slope is rise over run. Y-intercept is the starting point. B is my starting point. Does everybody understand that? B has to be where we start. B stands for y-intercept. The y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So I start off at 0. The y-intercept is at what? -3, so I'm going down 1, 2, 3. Put a point there and do not move your pencil tip. So leave your pencil tip there. That's my starting point. Okay, does everybody see my point? You haven't moved your pencil. Is my slope positive or negative? What does my slope say? Positive what? 2 over 1. So my rise is 2. If it's positive, which direction do we go? Up. So without moving our pencil tip, we're going to take our jumps. 1 jump, 2 jump. We haven't put in a point yet. We've just jumped. The run is how many? Which direction do we always go for our run?
Right.
Jump right 1, and now put a point. What do we do now? We get our ruler. We connect our points with a straight line. If you just give me this, I will mark it wrong, because an equation goes forever. There are infinitely many solutions to this equation. So you need to have arrowheads on your graph. We're going to do quite a few examples because I want to make sure that you understand how to do this. But there's really 2 steps. Find the starting point and count. Is that hard? Find the starting point and count. Let's do it again. So again, here's example 2. It's going to say graph. I'm going to give you y equals -3/2 x plus 4. Y equals -3/2 x plus 4. Always, 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 at least these next couple days, you are going to start off by labeling M equals, B equals. Before you even make a graph, you are going to start off by labeling M equals, B equals. Okay? So David, what does M equal?
-3/2.
Good. -3/2. Simone, what is my B?
4.
4. It's positive because it's a plus 4. Now we can make our graph. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you have to use 5s? No, that's just what I'm using for right now because I know it will work for our graph. Am I done with my graph itself? What else do I want to have there with my graph? Sammy?
The x-axis and the y-axis.
Yeah, I'd like you to label x and y. This way you know, because B is my y-intercept, there has to be a point on that y-axis. Does everybody understand that? Okay. Where am I going to start, Maddie?
You're gonna start at the y-intercept.
Which is? Which letter is my y-intercept?
B is, positive 4.
Very good. 4 up. So we start at 0, 0, which is the origin, and we're only worried about the y-intercept. We go up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make a point, and don't move your pencil tip. Or marker in my case. Okay, Simone, what's my slope? Negative 3 over 2. Remember, rise over run. Rise is up and down, run is only to the right. If it's negative, which direction do you think we're going to go, Simone?
Down.
Down. How many down? So rise is up and down, run is to the right. So how many up and down? What's my rise? Which number is the rise?
Negative 3 over 2.
So just the rise, not the whole thing, just the rise number.
What's the numerator in that fraction? What number is on the top?
3.
Okay, so that's just my rise. So because it's negative, we're going down. 1, 2, 3. Do I put a point there?
No.
No, because we still have to run. Which direction are we running?
Right.
To the right. 1, 2. Put your point. Get that ruler. Is that good?
No.
Why not be? Because there's no arrowhead. Because an equation goes on forever. Questions there? Can we try another one? May I erase this first example we did? Does everybody have this? So we're still graphing. I'm throwing things. So this is example 3. Going to make it a little bit trickier. Y equals x minus 4. Try it on your own. Let's see what you can do.
If you have a question, just ask. Your first step should be M equals B equals. That should be on your paper. Make sure you're paying attention to the signs there.
Okay. This one's a little bit trickier. All I want to know first is what is my slope which is M. What is my y-intercept, which is my B? And I have a problem. Maybe it's just me. I don't see a number with my x. How many x's do I have there? Haley?
1.
Oh. So this is really y equals 1x minus 4. Well, is that what I want as my slope? Haley?
No, you would do over 1 because every time you have a number, you just do it over 1.
Yeah, if it's a whole number, the denominator is 1. So now my slope, which is m, is 1 over 1. What is my y-intercept, Gracie? Negative 4. Okay, so now you should be able to graph this. X, Y. Okay, Alyssa, where am I starting?
With the y-intercept.
Okay, where at on the y-intercept? Which?
-4.
Negative 4. Here's my origin, down 1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody understand why that's my starting point? From there, how many up and over are we going, Mason? How many up do I need to go? What's my slope?
1,
Up 1, and then over to the right, how many?
1.
I don't know why I keep putting this over here. And then we graph. That didn't work. Let's try again. That was very undramatic. And then we graph. And there we go. And then we graph. Arrowheads, arrowheads. So every time that you graph, I should see 2 points and the arrowheads. Questions? Your homework